Here we've got a clump of bearded iris, and they're not flowering. And the reason they're not flowering is that they're planted in too much shade. So what we need to do is to dig them up, divide them, and replant them. And we're going to show you how to do that. We've got them out of the ground, and that's about half the clump. What we're going to do now is to divide them up into individual plants. As you dig the bearded iris out of the ground, you'll find that some of the clumps naturally divide themselves and some don't. You don't need to use a knife to cut them apart. You're much better just to tease them apart gently with your hands. And when you get to a part like this is the old rhizome, and that's not going to be any good at all. You can see the new rhizome here with a root system. So we can snip that off there, and we can snip that off there. So out of that, we've got 4 healthy plants. The next thing to do is to remove some of the foliage. This really helps with the transplanting, and we'll simply snip that off at about 3 inches, 15 centimetres, something like that. So we'll drop the foliage down, and as you can see, we haven't touched this side here because the foliage is fairly short. There's enough roots on that to support that cutting. We'll do another one, and again you can see that there's new foliage shooting up here, so we can cut this down to about this level here. So this is a good example of a division. It's got a good root system, it's got a rhizome, and it's got some good foliage, and we've trimmed that right back. That is now ready to plant. We're often asked, can you grow bearded irises in a pot or container? The simple answer is, yes you can. It's not ideal. However, you can do it. You'll need a largish container, and you'll need just a normal potting mix or compost mix. Nothing that's too strong with nitrogen. If you have a high nitrogen content, what you're going to find is that you only grow foliage, or worse, you burn the roots. So don't add any nitrogen to the soil at all. The technique for planting bearded iris in containers is exactly the same as it is for the soil. What you need to do is to make sure that this part here, the neck above the foliage, is sitting above the soil level, because that means that it's going to get some sun on it, and that's what the iris needs to help it into flower. So we're going to settle these roots down deeper into the pot. We'll take a bit of the potting mix out and just let it come back in around. And they're all tucked in nice and neatly. Then we'll get some extra potting soil, and we're going to backfill around it, making sure that any roots that have popped up we've put beneath. Now you really don't want to go much deeper than that. You want this rhizome to be sitting up. All you need to do now is to water it in, and we'd water that in with a liquid seaweed fertiliser. We'll sit it in a sunny position. Bearded iris need about 6 hours of sun a day to flower successfully. And when it comes to springtime, this iris should produce a number of wonderful flowers. Remember, they're better off in the ground than they are in a container, but if you don't have the room in the garden, or if you don't have a garden, you can grow them in containers. You'll probably have to divide them more often and repot them more often, but you can still do it. Planting depth will actually depend a little on the climate. In cooler climates, you really do need to expose the rhizome a little. In hotter climates, you need to cover the rhizome, perhaps with only 1 centimetre of soil. This prevents the rhizome from getting scorched. So the one rule doesn't apply for every area. For us, we leave the rhizome a little exposed. Here are our remaining divisions. We'll plant them in the ground. Don't be afraid to dig and divide your bearded iris. It's a great way of propagating them and making more plants. If you dig them out carefully and plant them correctly, you'll have very few problems. Remember, well-drained soil, sunny position, low nitrogen fertiliser. Although you can divide bearded iris at almost any time of the year, the best time to divide them is immediately after flowering or in late autumn to winter. If you divide them in spring, they may not flower or they may produce only small flowers that year. So, that's it for growing bearded irises. There are literally hundreds of colourful cultivars available. Everything from blacks through to whites, purples, reds and yellows. Other iris have different requirements and we discuss those in other videos. Good luck with growing your bearded iris. For more information, visit the website, subscribe to the YouTube channel for updates on how to plant and grow a whole range of garden plants. And as always, good luck with your gardening.